say something you don't want people to hear because we've got a lot of people saying they're here on this. We have 4 people up this morning. You see, Ecoffey is first, and that was handled by Mr. Albers and I. And we got it right up after that, so we basically don't need to make a decision on Parole. What does anybody have information on what the write-up was for? Shelley? Ecoffey, what was the write-up for?
It's an H3.
H3?
Let me.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
which gentleman is that again?
Ecoffey.
Josiah.
Fire. I say Ecoffey. Sorry, proceed.
It's an H3 fault resulting in serious bodily injury.
Okay, so it's in the salt in there. I beg your pardon, somebody would ask me.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Roberts.
should I move that we postpone this for a month and do a paper review next month, if we can find out what the result of this is?
Everybody understands the motion?
Just put it off for a month.
Yeah, put it out for a month, and we'll do the same thing, we'll do a paper review again, and well, we do want to do a paper review, we want to see it, don't we want to see it, if it's not found, it's not found guilty, we want to see it. So I don't think we should say paper review. My opinion. Because we can make that decision right before Shelley and I can make that decision. If it's, he's not guilty, we'll have to see it.
Okay,
If he's guilty, then we'll put him up.
yeah.
Everybody understand the modification of it? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Do we need a second?
No, we should have a second. I second. Put me down for a second.
Put you down for a second?
Yeah, we're the two that send him. Okay, and we have a unanimous motion on that, or a unanimous vote on that motion. We had that. We voted.
Okay, and it was all eight.
Unanimous. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we've got some guests that are hard of hearing, and we've got some other fan happening that is new. Because the big one is shut off, so I don't know what that is. So if we could just speak up a little bit louder, so Mr.
This
Anderson.
is one of those times you have an advantage when you just turn your hearing aids. You'll see other advantages, but that is a good advantage. All right, now let's talk a little bit about, this is the first month that we're gonna do where the people that sat in here are gonna do the interview. So here's how I see this play happening, so that we look professional here when we do this. We've got people that are gonna observe us. So I think what we should do is, and I'm gonna say Mr. Beck is the guy that takes it out. First of all, there were 2 people in the panel, so you guys are gonna have to, guys and gals, are gonna have to decide who's gonna do the interview. That can be before, that can be seconds before the votes. So we have 1 person doing the interview. You can do the inmate number, the whatever, like we normally do. You can introduce yourself and board. And then we go through the hearing. If it's your interview, I'd like to turn it back to me. And then I will take the questions. So we, again, recognizing people, not talking all over each other, got the gavel. So anyway, that's the way I see it coming down. And again, we dismiss it. So, that okay with everybody?
Sounds good.
All right. So if you haven't made a decision on who's going to handle, you're going to have to do it live today. But so the first one we've got is Spencer Wall.
I have a guest, let's call
Is that?
And then do we have, can I call the staff and put to them?
Yes. Yes.
Where's that guest at?
We've got a.
No, she's not. But I told him he already got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Albers, you and Ms. Steele have Spencer at the wall.
Yes.
So
I'm going to do the,
Okay. Any board discussion before we have them come in? Any board discussion before we have the inmate come in?
Oh,
See none? Okay. Let's go. Spencer Wall.
They're not even down here.
Oh, they're not down here. Okay.
Yeah, I just called them.
Okay.
Oh, no, I believe you.
I sent it out.
Yeah, you did.
And I sent it out.
So, look at that one.
No, but it seems kind of good. So if I need to warm my hands up, but I
Just
just stuff my hands.
just to warn everybody, we had two confirmation. As Kirsten and I, we both got the votes. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Kirsten.
We both got the votes.
Yeah, hers does too.
What do you think?
I don't know about her.
The computer's pop. Hers gets like that too. Hers doesn't miss that. Just a hand warmer. It's built in.
Well, there's only that one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that somebody gets up and votes. No,
And you ever sit there for a long time with on your lap?
And they got that one in the computer. He was. So, but he voted in committee, right? Correct way.
Can you take this off?
Well, they're not.
Spencer Wall.
Oh, show up. Okay.
What was interesting during my confirmation, just haven't paid attention.
Did it hook up on?
The Attorney General sat down and introduced me, and he said, I was 5 when this guy
They
was a
get rid of
bad guy. I'm 5. You should think about that. That makes you feel old.
Did you pat him on the head?
I wasn't there. I was didn't go away.
You didn't go out there. did you?
No, I was on Teams.
Yeah. Good morning to everybody who is joining us via Teams. We've got a few minutes here while we're waiting for the offenders to get down here, but would you guys mind introducing yourselves and who you are here for, just so that we make sure we recognize you when the time comes? So I've got a meeting guest with a green bubble. Could you identify yourself, please? You'll have to unmute yourselves and then mute again. Okay, James Flores. James Flores, can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, who are you here for?
I'm not here for anybody. I'm just viewing the hearing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Meeting guest. Okay, I have an AS.
Sorry, I was having a problem with my mute. Autumn Sattler, I'm the victim, and Phillip Steele, please.
Okay. Thank you, Autumn. Is there anybody else that I missed? Just that meeting guest. I'm unsure who that person is. They won't respond, so.
Stacy, are you sitting where the applicant is going to sit?
Correct, yep.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Feeling any better, Peter? Peter, you feeling any better?
Oh, I'm feeling better. I'm just worried about passing it along to you guys.
Thank you. I just thought to check in on you.
Thank you. As our chairman, Myron, you're responsible for all our health.
Oh my God. I can't even
Yeah,
think.
no kidding.
You heard me say I have more doctors than I have friends. But they're keeping me alive, that's the main thing.
Shut off the part that it's
Oh, yeah.
4 days. Kill them. Oh, yeah. So once he can sign those, my son. Oh.
Remember back in the days when you unrolled barbed wire, when you put that in the fence?
I remember.
What do you mean back in the days? I still do that.
Well, they got a different way to mount that stuff on the back. We mounted it on the side of the tractor. So in order that it didn't just go crazy, I had to stand in between the two tires and have a post on there so that it didn't unravel. So guess what? I stepped in a hole, fell, and that tractor was parked on my leg. Dad had to turn the wheel. I remember that pain, and that's like 50, 60 years ago. Like, that happens quick.
I think that might have been the first time my son was that body was definitely in there. Life's dog died the other day, so I had a friend. So, things got to start getting better here pretty quick. Very sad. Basically.
Brenda, who are you here?
I think all three.
Okay.
She's here all three.
Correct.
And Jan brought something up. You're doing your interviews if you want staff input. Well, please call for that too. You don't have to wait till it's over.
Yeah, do it just like we do.
Yeah, just like we do. Except turned over, yeah, just think of things as a more order if we
Just flat.
recognize who's supposed to speak.
Flat.
Not a group.
I actually put 6 months. He might change his mind. They weren't gonna get next year, just so you know. Case managers. He probably some supervision calls. He's probably not fit.
The engineers.
Other than one person,
What? Another person.
Oh, that's Clara. Okay, again, just for everybody on Teams, we're just waiting for the offenders to get here, so thank you for being patient, and we'll start as soon as we can.
In addition to. Just, yeah, okay, I wasn't sure. Yeah.
So I understand that's like insurance.
All right, now we might be able to hear better. New other fan.
Thank you. From the office. And Pat and John That's the first time I got so just called it.
No, it's really, let's see it together. That's what this is all about. Yeah. Makes it easier. That's what that's what we put.
Yeah. And we had students.
Yeah.
Some questions. Worked out.
Just going through it.
Are they bringing them all down, Stacy? Are
Huh?
they bringing them all down?
Yeah. Is that?
That would be all.
They will have to go. It just did what's the well, you can write it down, I'm remembering, can be reached out after that, it's like this afternoon or after that. I don't know how we're gonna go then. We'll see. They might make arrangements to come. It's either fun. Later. Since you got to say, oh, something. Yes. That one is, did you know? I did. I you know Sunday. Appreciate that. Yes. Some of us, that's one that we didn't receive. We never seen this in charge. We just started. Yeah.
So today's that's all falling away.
Oh, we might have to just. Yeah, some. There's, we can still.
Oh, sure. Dave asked me to see his contact number, so I just give him a call sometime.
I will. Thank you. Thanks. Sort of strange.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 26.
Yes.
It's up on that. So
You'd have the sheriff.
Yeah.
It'd be current. Yeah, out there. So you,
Well,
to see what you do.
absolutely.
So you
I
unpack.
found the perfect spot for it. As they die.
Sounds like,
Daughter gave me-
Sounds appropriate.
There's burgers and she said that turkey, she doesn't, she eats turkey. She tried the turkey club, but she said it's fantastic. As long as it's just. Yeah.
I enjoy going out there. You don't have a restaurant in Fall.
Not at all.
And we can get our driver from the sheriff.
We have a bar that just opened up. That's just for
Search some burgers, yeah.
About halfway.
So that's it, you know?
Just to the north of. Road 26. Yeah, I thought we tried.
North of Grove 26, yeah. And our driver.
Well, the actual address is
Yeah, so what, our driver.
1612 Southwestern,
Okay,
Southwestern.
Yeah, we can take the bus.
we'll tell him since it's.
So the other thing, the reason is they've got Green Belt.
You done that research for me.
I did. No, one of their pictures of the, was a picture of both the daughter of Green Belt.
Good man.
Let them in.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's a new place.
Yeah.
That's why you're a fearless leader.
There were two that didn't get it. So,
On Monday, I was like,
okay, so if you could go inside the north.
I will.
Myron, I just.
Angela Taylor, could you please introduce yourself and let us know who you're here for?
And then I think, I just sent me a note for you.
Yes, I said they took care of this.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I told
Karina.
her.
Yeah. Angela, can you hear us?
Oh, I'm sorry, I had my mic off.
That's fine.
Yes, Angela Taylor, I'm here for Spencer Wall.
Are you a guest of his or are you against his role?
I'm for him. I'm his mother.
Okay, thank you. You can go ahead and mute yourself again.
Okay.
Stephanie Yellow Eagle. Can you hear us, Stephanie?
Yes, can you hear me?
Sure can. Can you introduce yourself and let us know who you're here for?
My name is Stephanie Yellow Eagle. I am Philip's niece, and I am here for Phillip Steele.
Perfect. Thank you. You can go ahead and mute yourself again. We're just waiting for them to all show up and then we'll get started. So
Just for those people sitting here, we're normally not this disorganized. But we short on that. We didn't see him
You
this
did.
morning.
Okay. I will send a
And to
reminder.
put us on this pattern.
And then if you-
it's fine. It's cold out, right?
Yeah, it's real cold.
You don't have anything better to do.
Too cold to take the lawn this morning anyway. Isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know how to do that.
I don't either.
Still just now. Lindsay's grass. Should we get snacks? I have time. You like, then for the Jimmy John. Wait for the bell.
Peter? Peter,
Yes, Myron?
I think you've got something on your state email too. One of the guys that we granted yesterday got a write-up.
Are you talking about Granados?
Yes,
Yeah, I sent an email agreeing with your statement, Myron, about putting them out.
thank you.
Okay.
We let it know. Did it show up, Jan?
Yeah, I signed it.
No, I was talking to Jan.
Oh,
I'm checking right
yeah,
there.
yours take care.
Still nothing? Oh, here. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you. I signed all of them on Monday.
There were two that were not sent to you. And when I went through them last night, I found them, so I just sent them last night.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So where do I? It doesn't.
Yes, sir. Didn't I give you?
I did decide, but yeah, we didn't have, so I'm trying to get clicked.
Just take mine when I'm done with it, I'll hand it to you. I'm just every time I log in, I so I'll just.
Oh, should I delete this one?
Mr. Albers just brought up a question about identity. Yes, here. You can handle it just like you do, as Ron said before. Some of them, but we've got a list. Stacy's got a list of who is here for him. If you want that list, you know,
These are just the people who
just handle it like you normally do your.
they don't have to ask for those input for meeting. Some states.
Well, that's only if they call us. Yeah, we can't make.
Yep.
Calls.
Another change.
So that's what all these people, we have no.
Change is good.
Correct.
Change is good.
I was with Peter on Monday, and I signed first day, I thought, I didn't what you say, yeah, I was with Peter and then Lower.
Change is learning.
Well, I've had these computers, they think about where we were, and then we got those tablets, and now we got this, and so. When I came on this board, we had, paper was tough. Really much we had to go through.
Well.
Well, them days are over.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's over.
Yeah.
And signing everything by
Yeah.
hand. Your fingers were done by the time you get done.
Yeah.
This is, the boxes of tables. When you fire the whole board, you got your board off. And you have 2-3 tables set up and you just get those there too.
Wow.
And if like I say, big containers full of containers. Albers remembers that too. And we used to have signing at the board office, when we had to sign everything.
Oh, yeah.
And we had boxes of stuff upstairs, we had all.
And we're all got together.
Yeah.
In a room, kind of room.
Yep.
If you had.
And then we had lunch. And we ran out of lunch. We didn't do that anymore either.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I do too. Then when my daughter said the dive, I said, I just went through the
I
dive.
put it in, so our driver.
We gotta go there, that's a picture place for us.
I just put it in my phone, the average car driver.
I wonder what else. Gets
Probably just to listen.
Do we have an ETA? No,
Call them back and see if they're on the way.
they are?
No, he's gonna call them and find out, but when Yost came down, it was like 10 minutes ago, they were still standing up there. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
You didn't do it, I can't.
okay, can I reset your password or something like that?
Sure.
Okay. You have a
Hey,
page it out. Here.
hey, you have not figured it out.
Oh, it's okay. I'll just reset it, I'll tell you what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, you need some. Is that the same?
It went
The
down.
ladies had-
It's not going to be.
Okay.
No, I think we're too on it. I think we're so agreeing.
I'll get answers one of those.
Thank you. So I tried to sign in, I tried to put my sharing point down.
Any minute, they said.
I drank
Myron,
it.
she said any minute.
Okay.
So let me see, I'll try, so I'm pretty sure I can change it on my end for you.
There were no reason to hold it. Two or three of them, they're still in.
Yeah, I thought I had changed my password, but it wasn't accepted, so.
Oh, you still got it. You still got it. Sure. So, when you sold that, was that place open now or is it closed? It's open, but it's. This t-shirt thing. Oh, so it's not as much for us. Okay.
You support the business? My t-shirts for your
Buy the t-shirts. I like the people. I put a good people on it.
We got a steakhouse back home that just sold. Some young people moved in from Missouri, bought it, they're gonna make it into a house. That's what happens when you have out of staters move in. I'm not really impressed with that
Because I'm living in a green warehouse.
idea. Yeah,
It's built in 1991.
you bang on the walls, any grain dust fall out, like you sneeze or anything?
We went in a few times and I kept saying to my wife, there's a rat. There wasn't a rat. But I had to.
That's funny.
And then we, the peak they got, like the green out of that peak, there were pigeons flying around the bed.
Yeah.
Saw it the first time. You got 8-inch sidewalls and 12-inch floors.
You can change it to
Yeah,
whatever you
You get traffic because of windows.
It's a neat looking building. Oh, really? Well, them old wood grain elevators around home, they're made with like 2x6 or 2x8s laying flat on each other.
Stacked, yeah.
Imagine how much lumber's in there.
Makes for a good jail. It's
Well, as long as somebody don't come along, burn it down.
My house is.
Is it really?
Dr. Kaufman, are you here for everybody or just one?
Just one.
Just the one, okay. Because we got Spencer Wall also, which is also a MNSOST-R. But that, we're not here, that's Brenna's here for him. Okay, gotcha. Again, make sure that we call on those folks. Did you want to talk before the inmate comes in or not? You want to talk to us before?
Sure.
Okay.
Screen's still on.
Yeah, there's a lot of custody. That's
Kurt,
one.
we got a bunch of wood from the post and pole business. They had cut off ends, 2 feet long, 2x4. We built a garage with those.
Really?
Yeah,
With the
stack it like that, just, yeah,
Really?
just like bricks
Yeah.
going up. Yeah.
Huh. the house that we live in is built like in the 50s. It ain't a very big house. It's kind of a little ranch style with a basement. But the guy that built it apparently used like barn lumber. So when we re-sided it a couple of years ago, we took all the siding down to the sheeting board. And the sheeting boards are full 1 inch thick. And the 2x6s are full 2x6. I mean, the house is pretty solid. Built pretty good.
Just you going.
True dimension.
Big bad wolf ain't no blow
True
out.
dimension.
Yeah,
would,
true dimension.
Jersey that
You mentioned that too. The hell's happening?
What was that change? Just to change the money?
I think so.
I remodeled a few where you got some old ones.
Oh, really?
That time they was all snatched. In the window or whatever, it's the same.
I think it was primarily it just wasn't plain. So we're playing it down.
Yeah, yeah.
Your odd dimensions.
That's true.
I made some shelves for my daughter. It was some hardwood I had. And I mentioned, I said it's true dimension. What do you mean? It was a 2x8. It's actually 2x8. Well, all 2x8s are on those. So I need to go and have a chunk of wood. Well, why did they do that? Well,
Yeah, they try to flaming and everything. they find
Greenhouse,
process.
yeah.
When they had come up with.
Makes sense.
Got it.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, I just mentioned jazz. I wouldn't have wanted this guy.
Prove that you.
He moves.
My dad always maintained that the rough lumber and the true dimension had a better,
Well, you don't.
better value for.
You never see them twist and twist. You see the lumber, yeah. You did see that too much.
He also said our local lumber yards, a lot of times you get lumber from them pretty green and
Hey, Peter,
the 12-inch board, an inch a year for the.
I just sent you a couple of board slips that were not put on the sheet on Monday. So could you sign those for me? And I think then Grandiose is on there also.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's a message for Peter.
I saw that.
So they probably didn't see it.
Yeah. Probably right. That's why we're in this stuff right now. Yeah, but you're right on the, they're gonna be.
Long minute, Myron.
No,
It is a long minute.
long minutes. Doesn't matter though. I gotta do it different anyway.
We showed up too. Oh, there's another person in the lobby.
Shop, she's not back.
Yeah, that's the problem. They're starting to stack up because they got good time.
Rachel, can you hear us?
Yes, well, it's 8:30, I said it's 30.
Rachel?
No, I do not. I do not.
Yes,
Hi, can you identify yourself and tell us who you're here for?
my name is Rachel Negretti, and I am here for Autumn for the parole hearing of Steele.
Okay. So are you just here in support for Autumn?
Just, yes, I'm just here in support of Autumn.
Okay, thank you.
And for the, whoever's taking minutes, I called the meeting to order, but I did not ask for any public input on non-agenda items. I will do that now. Any input on non-agenda items? Public here online or in the being none. We're officially the order came into order at 8:30 exactly. But I did not ask that question. We have a quorum today. There are all nine of us. As a teams or in person. Sure, everybody. I'm a sheep. I have a sheep. I do.
The night before. You're told to. Didn't have a total. Yeah. It's just right.
So is it any minute again? Like a minute after 10 or? After 11? So you didn't miss the minute afternoon.
Can I give you more coffee?
This might be here for a while.
Yeah.
Of course, how much we want to give it. What are we talking here? If it's just like $2, I'm not interested, but if we're talking a million, I'll take so. Yeah. I could use $1,000,079.
Well, I wasn't.
No. Oh, gosh, I didn't walk past your house, Karen.
Oh, that's not my porch.
Yeah, you were sitting at the deck when you
No, I don't think that joke's ever been told, is it?
No.
I'm calling.
Every time I go up on my deck, I think of that, I chuckle.
Well, that and the grave digger guys. That's that story I've never seen.
And why did he do that? Why did he dig that guy up?
Yeah, that was buried at 10 grand.
Oh, so he dug it up to get 10 grand. So it's 10 grand in there?
Yeah. He took his cup and flew the cobble. FBI was waiting for him. Got off the plane.
Oh, no.
He did, it was a Texas thing, I mean, he's in here now. It was a Texas case before he ever came to something. So it's been a long time. But they were standing here when we were doing the interview, they told us about before it came in. He hasn't said it's fast, you know anything about this, anything else? No, you won't. No, it was there, I had to ask him. He said, do I have to tell you? I said, no, you don't have to, but I'd be interested in knowing. It's kind of weird. They went out there at night. Right? Yeah. Did you put there? Was been late son? Yeah, that's what we used to do. I could come in the morning. Go and see this. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think they're all supposed to be.
Usually we're one by now.
Yeah, that was sure.
We're getting closer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a starting person. I don't have a second.
Yeah, I said we don't have many, you know? The bar has to be down here, Ken. You can't be raising that up.
I'll have to have something. That's been signed.
It's still not paid. No, I did it.
Yeah, the dogs. Certain dogs in there to be such a
In here?
Right up that up.
Okay.
Yeah, they got the solid down. You were leaving.
You can actually see it all.
Yeah, that was something. I said, you guys have been busy this morning. He said, yeah. The dog didn't say that.
No.
Kurt, did you need to use the bathroom? What's that? Did you need to use the bathroom?
No.
No, I just come from there.
Oh, okay.
I saw, it looks like you were there and walked away. I thought you pulled it and it's lost.
Will you push me down?
Pretty sneaky.
So that it's shut.
I just did.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, did I?
We
Oh,
don't shut the
Oh, no, it's not shut.
I think I did.
No, it looks shut from over there. Sorry for blaming you for no reason.
That's all right. I'm used to it. I don't like it, but
We
I'm
needed
used to it.
something to do.
What's that?
We needed something to do.
That's fine.
Let's shake down to the open side.
What did you find? I don't know. Let's shake these guys and see what they got. Maybe somebody has.
We didn't get last fall, but I.
And you'd like a memory.
She's sleeping. He's dogging us, stay out of it. Yeah. That's something going on. She's the treasurer for the HOA, so it's. Oh, she's got.
Maybe I don't.
Places in the sheriff's up there, your sheriff took one.
I'm not good.
Your sheriff's one.
It's probably not.
Doug Sullivan, sheriff, he's just told wagers, under history. Anyway,
Last one
they
was
still
$90.
got high.
Couple out of.
Your sheriff, it's a 9 shots of whiskey and 100 rounds.
Certainly.
More than that.
She's good at
Well, yes, maybe family member, sure, some of these shots.
whatever it was about 97 bucks. So I called them, so. He does win one. That's the other, he won by that big. Sure. That's it's this kind of this is it orders from county and southwest. Yeah, straight in.
Yeah. 5 or 6, I can imagine.
Hip, all right.
Yeah.
Your hip, all right.
Well,
We've only got 16 people outside. Waiting.
Little warm, we got coffee.
Sure.
No.
one thing you learn in this business is that there are many things beyond your control.
I would just like an apple fritter.
You don't have an apple, yeah.
Then I can have it.
I have.
So while we're you.
I don't think so. Yeah, never go, there's a bar, which like, go try that.
Just.
I'm probably not gonna eat it.
I was.
Yeah. If it'll keep you happy, ready to go.
I don't know. I forget.
I had never seen those recent kind before.
Who's that?
They're pretty good at that.
That's
The new
Sauce too.
Yeah.
Very in blood.
I might eat that. Thank you.
We're very, yeah, my grandniece, niece, who's a captain of Delta, her daughter. And she probably I'm giving her 2 months. That was take it over. Bring it for. Isn't it otherwise what you kind of also. It's a job program, we're going to do stuff. Yeah, I'm excited.
Like just.
But I'll be off last night. Her boyfriend is a flight instructor. So I kind of. There'll be full of. But she's just gonna go.
You know, where I'm at. I won't count
Just.
What kind of stuff?
He's here. I'm just focused right now.
Paul, do you want some coffee?
Okay, well, I'm good, thanks. Just call it text me.
Then I surveyed it, it's like 2 years. Yeah, because he wants to go back.
No, you.
Let me look again.
Made mine work fine yesterday. Today,
I feel like we talked about this yesterday, didn't we, try?
Briefly, but I wasn't listening. You know, I mean, I'll admit to it.
That makes me feel so good.
I'll pay attention this time.
Please, I like it when you pay attention.
Okay.
Makes me feel good.
I don't know, but I wasn't paying attention.
You know, here's the best part is he asked the question and then stopped listening.
So if you brought it in.
Now you know how my wife feels.
That's fine. I have boys. I live with boys. Uh-oh, he dropped his cane. Oh, he got it. He's good.
It looks like she was sorry when it started. Yeah.
This guy must have had watch me.
Stacy, can you hear me? We've lost audio. Do you turn your audio off?
Yeah,
There we go. There we go.
Sorry,
Thanks.
Peter. I don't know how that happened.
That's okay.
In other words, Steele will be last. Instead, we're going to take Anderson third, and then Steele will be last.
Okay.
It said that wrong. It's going to be Anderson, then Steele. Anderson, then Steele.
So.
This is Kirsten. I didn't catch it. Stacy, do we have an ETA on when we're gonna get the inmates?
In about 15 minutes is what they said.
They said that a half hour ago, though.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, I missed it first time.
No, you're fine.
No, there's an issue inside the unit. I'm moving inmates around. It's suddenly we're out of control on that. We have to have staff bring them down here. If something happened that delayed that process, and we have no idea when they're going to be here. You just need to check up. If you need to log off and come back, it'll be at least an hour until we get to sounding speed.
My computer's fixed by then.
Oh, you're still waiting
What
for it
did
to
they
get
say?
fixed. I thought you told.
He's coming down.
Oh, he's physically
Yeah, he said he should be here in about 15, 20 minutes. Anderson. Hopefully that's not like.
people. I thought they probably would have to come here.
I told him.
This one's died. Brent is here tomorrow. But then I don't want to be waiting on you, your wife. So then I just call you here.
You need a.
For us,
I can do that.
I know. See what happens. Suggest that, everybody agrees with me, that's not surprised. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. I could get all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. No, that's fine. You're in charge of the hearing. You can do everything.
Yeah, there's something like that. Makes sense.
We're supposed to have warmer weather taking in session.
Sounds like most of next week.
Here.
I don't. Yeah, it's making money right now.
What's it like? The coldest it's on the last 10 years.
So, and when I was out there, it was 7 feet below.
That's my office. I visited there a little while.
Well, I said it to the, so I'll try to do it.
But the outside.
We had to wait for him to show me the water. And he stood out there. About 10 minutes while they were doing all that stuff, but that got cold quicker.
I looked over. That's where he's. The bail I got. Oh, they got it. You know, of course they went to like. They're starting to I got. After to give. I can't do that. So, but I got a bailout. It's like nothing. Why didn't I do this?
Didn't have to. Oh my goodness. A lot of good stuff that used to be. Oh, yeah. And I need help send it. Why did I go for the school? Oh, that doctorate deal, you put an end to a good thing there. I should have got myself.
It's a deer going through. Oranges have gotten.
It's amazing.
So it's those out here. They cleaned them. Bring the bag of.
Did you like that?
Oh, 3,000. Using big fence. Said, but I got a mold, put some wall that's in there and check it out. Yeah, but the deer don't clean those up too.
Yeah.
I want out where horses get out of farm. There's the water tanks in there.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you know,
Yeah, just storage in the back, you know, they see me.
Sure.
And they all. The horses have their. They all. I don't believe it's trees, but they're so.
Gonna be right on there, yeah.
We go in, he's gonna give us some trees, he has to. Yep. The horse on that.
that wasn't
Well, they see that man,
just
I'm part of it. So you don't give them all.
Yeah.
And it's so. Just got used to it.
I was thinking, so I put together a list of all the false county sheriffs.
There's a bunch of little.
Starting in 1883. I was thinking, I was husband of mine, didn't I came by. But I got it out. They was back in the day, because of little things, German shepherds, cigarettes.
And I said the coldest Pasha, but it would be best. Point across.
Maybe that was his hand type.
A few times I've stood out with this here. Good girl. Everything's all back. She's catching on to them. A few of the days, let's just send her for the best.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My dog just will not. Yeah, I should have done a better job getting her trained down. She knows we're gonna go.
because there was a time.
I can go outside with her. Backyard, just step out.
Because I'm gonna be rotating.
Unless we're gonna go for the walk.
We got
I feel like
sure. I think our finger down. We got a female sheriff in Spink County, Sheehan County. I think
If she goes out twice a day. She's hopping. Yeah.
Well, what was the old sheriff's name, Brooklyn?
She'll go out. She doesn't want to.
Ripstein's dad was.
I think it's what he's counted
At the door until you let her
Well,
in.
Ripstein was the sheriff.
Then there was one after. I just think I was.
There's been two after.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
When it's really cold.
Yeah.
That's
Gordy Ripstein.
I think there's four.
Yeah.
Yes, Kyle.
He's Gordy Ripstein.
And it's so cool. Sure. I don't care. She, well.
Gordy Ripstein. Gordy
That's
Ripstein.
I don't believe that.
Okay, then you could.
And
What's the big deal? Like,
5 or 7 years ago.
oh, we used to argue like these. You know.
I think that because of risk of the loss, because water is always.
Go ahead. We'll see who gets it first.
Oh.
Yes.
Maryland strike right there. Yeah.
Please do. When you want more, I got you a stronger cup. Okay?
She did so good.
All right.
So she just went outside. No, by the door.
And we live in.
Inside.
And so living with
I lived in a jail cell for a year and a half. And I started.
It wasn't in the house.
I'm sure.
So I don't.
Maybe a conversation later.
Your garage is the same.
And it just makes me.
My dad always said, I always thought you'd end up in jail. I just never thought you'd be running.
We've all wondered about that.
Gonna miss my dad. He had a lot of good sayings.
You are.
One of them was, don't ever think you're the smartest guy in the room because you'll never learn nothing. Pretty good advice there too.
Spend some time out at the stock show.
We did. We went out the last weekend. Took in 3 of the videos, I guess.
Get over there as much as I intended to, and really just one day I took the grandkids and
Oh, yeah.
took them all around and stuff.
You take them down to the petting zoo in the old arena where all the little goats are.
Yeah,
I like going there and watching.
yeah, that's fun.
Little kids and goats are funny. There are a lot of funny things happening in that pen. Never fails. One kid will always put his head down and want to head bust the goat. That never ends up. And sooner or later, one will do it.
Dad wanted to get a goat or two, but my wife won't let me.
Boy. You can have your own petting.
Worries about her flower bed.
Hey, you probably can't keep them out of the.
I have one of the little doggies over by the house in the fall. I was talking to her and kind of gave her a lot of leeway for this, like the lead rope and I put the surface of God. One of her flower plants, he was just going, they love flowers. Did I bring up that?
Is there a time when you're?
Here they are, they're coming. They're here. Now, so.
Oh, my. Nice. I hope you have some language. I've got.
Did you tell Kristen? The instructions.
So.
Calls flavors.
So I took it.
It's not like this is a sequel.
What?
It's not like this is a sequel. It's taking its own thing.
Expanded my people. Just as nice.
We just kind of.
They ate those. They're coming in while I'm shredding this paper, you know, just kicking it through the gate and spreading it around. One comes in, there's a shoe and one.
On the shredded.
Yeah. Another one comes in, also all 3 of them.
Are you ready for the shutter?
Chewing on the.
There's the wall. That's the wall.
Wait a couple more minutes or?
No.
But yeah.
Okay, good. Let's come to order. Next up is Mr. Wall, and again, that is Mr. Albers and Ms. Steele, and Ms. Steele is going to handle the interview. And keep in mind, I don't want to push anybody through here quicker than possible, but keep in mind we've been here a long time and we don't need to repeat stuff over and over and over. Okay, go ahead.
We don't have very many.
Yeah.
Computer said 15, 20 minutes.
It's been that.
Their clocks are on a different time.
Speakers don't get it. They're on restraint right now.
Okay, thank you.
What are we even waiting for? What we're doing?
Well.
Well,
What is wrong?
You sure?
Is that, no?
For sure, I'll say it.
Just funny, but there's like those bushes go.
Do we have any guests? Stacy, any guests for Mr. Wall?
I don't have any.
It's
Did she get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Angela Taylor, sorry.
Angela Taylor.
Nothing.
single.
Just so we can get that out of the way, I'm a case manager. I have no input. We've got a job, no write-ups.
Thank you.
The model intern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It could have been a double. Maybe I would have, maybe I'd have considered that.
Yeah, I don't think that was our first case yesterday. Sex offender.
Okay.
Yeah. 29 is the mission. 29 days to start. People go to the camp. But that happens, they're even if you have 29. Fall. And then it's time to that's a day for day. That's what we were at. That's my fault. Well, he doesn't. So
Myron,
We're ready to go.
yes.
Myron, Brenna has some stuff she would
Okay.
talk to you guys about for the
Yes.
wall, if you want to start with that.
Thank you.
So it looks like the last time he was out on parole was in 2023. I just read over his termination letter and it looks like he was having contact with kids that was unapproved. If I remember the case correctly, he went to a water park in Rapid City and had contact with his kids, so obviously had physical contact with them. That was not approved to even travel there. And then he had possession of a smartphone that he wasn't allowed to have. His original offense, though, was forcible rape on a 13-year-old girl. Level 3 offender, so he would need GPS. Recommend transitional housing, but he doesn't have to do that by policy.
Been back how long?
I'll say the end of 2023 is when he violated.
Been here a long
Yep.
time.
About 14 months.
And he was out how long before he violated?
Well,
September 2022.
So just over a year, about 14 months. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good morning, Spencer.
Good morning.
State your full name and your inmate number for our record, please.
Spencer Lee Wall, inmate number 49172.
Thank you. And I will just say for you and my colleagues and the visitors, and I believe your mother's on Teams, so
Okay.
give her an opportunity to speak. So I'm going to facilitate this hearing, and we want to hear specifically, Spencer, what do you have planned for your parole? Where would you be going to live and work and be involved in treatment?
Okay. I plan to live here in Sioux Falls. I plan on going to the Kingdom Boundaries Halfway House. It's a Christian ran program. I was there when I first got out, and I was very successful when I went to Kingdom Boundaries. I completed the program with flying colors. Still kept in contact with Jeff Haberhalls, who is the facilitator of that program. I plan on working in my line of work, which is as a plumber. I do new construction and stuff like that. I'm a state and city licensed plumber. I plan on going back and finishing class, SOMP class, and I want to get into therapy. Last time I was out, I was not in therapy. I should have been in therapy because it would have helped me a lot.
Be more specific for?
Just mental health, just to help with mental health issues and stuff like that. It was part of the reason which led me to my downfall and led me to coming back. Was
poor decision making.
Poor decision making. I mean, I completely and totally disregarded the rules, and so regardless of what led to that, there's no excuse. So I plan on, like I said, getting in touch with mental health. I've been working with mental health here in the prison to help me get ahead of the game and find me a therapist before I even get out. I've been working with Meredith. And then other than that, I mean, just trying to get my life together.
And your support system?
I have a girlfriend. We have 2 kids together. And then I have my mother. They all live together in Rapid City.
Okay. And your mother's on?
Yeah. They're all very supportive and they want to keep me on track. I also have a few friends here in Sioux Falls and within the church. So they'll keep me on.
Cognizant of the fact that you would return to kingdom boundaries and obey the rules and regulations and parole officer regulations too.
Yeah.
Of travel.
Yeah. She understands all of that. I explained every bit of it to her.
So it's crystal clear.
It's crystal clear with her, everything that I have to do. All the rules with not only just parole and travel purposes, but with SOMP as well.
Thank you. So at this point, I'll turn to your mother. Angela, would you like to address the room? You may be simply attentively listening. However, this is your time to speak if you wish.
Sorry, I'm just getting my voice back. I am in support of him. I'm hoping that you guys will grant
Just
him.
a minute, Angela. Stacy, could you turn up the volume?
It might be on her end because it's
Yeah,
not
maybe
as high as we can. Angela, can you turn up your volume a little bit? Yeah, I'm at 100.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Get closer.
Yeah, get closer.
Okay. Is this a little bit better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I am in support of Spencer as much as I can be, living in a different town. I was a little I'm sorry. I'm hoping that you guys can grant him another chance to prove that he can do this. I have been very supportive and encouraging for him to get that mental health help because he was impatient. It got him, very impatient and impulsive. And then he, of course, lied to everybody about what he was allowed to do and what he wasn't allowed to do. So in the future, I plan on following up also with his probation officer, which Spencer has given me permission to do. And hopefully we'll sign those papers too with them so that we can be in communication. And not because I don't necessarily trust him, but that trust has to be earned back as well. And because he needs to know that there is a checks and balances that will hopefully keep him in line as well. I know he really wants to reunite with his children, and that he has to work the program and get that granted. So, and my grandbabies are 9 and 6, and they deserve this as well. And so he needs to step up and start being that man that they need, the dad that they need. And so I'm just hoping that you guys can give him that chance so he can start working towards that.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for your candor. I'm going to turn to my colleagues if there are any questions before I turn it over to Board Chairman Rao.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions from the board? Anything at all? Anything you want to say before we end your hearing?
There's not much that I want in life. There's really only a couple of things. First and foremost, I just want to be the father that my children can look up to and will be proud of. That I want to be with my family. It's not a whole lot, I don't think. I don't have these grand things that I want to do with my life. The grandest thing I want to do with my life is I want to run my own plumbing business someday, and I've gone to college and all that stuff to make that dream hopefully come true one day. I've been working hard at making myself more mentally resilient and better prepared for parole. When I first got out last time, I did really well. I I completed the program at Kingdom Boundaries. Like I said, I was doing really well in SONT class. It was really the only last 4 months of my parole that I started to veer away from the straight and narrow and started to get onto to bad things that I shouldn't have been doing. I'm really ashamed of doing those things. I mean, I may not have committed any new crimes. I may not have done anything bad, really. But I did lie and I did disregard the rules. And for that, I am sorry, not just to my family, but to my parole officer, who I had a lot of respect for, and the SONT class, because I know that causes them a bunch of work and a bunch of unnecessary stuff that they don't need to be going through.
Well, we are only in control of allowing you to hit the streets. All of this that you're talking about is totally in your
It is.
understanding.
And I've been working hard at it. I retook a class and graduated dialectical behavioral therapy to help me stay on the straight and narrow and to help me continue to do good.
Okay. Well, we will make a decision and let you know what that decision is within the next 10 days. Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. For discussion and/or action.
How long has he been back?
14 months.
He certainly got the talk. I don't know if he's been walk the walk, but he's got the talk.
When he went to that water park, did he go there alone?
What was that?
Did he go to the water park alone?
I'm guessing the girlfriend was there too, but he was there with his kids.
He was there with the kids.
Yeah.
His kids.
He's done in 29, I think.
29. September 29.
He did do well for a while. Yeah.
I want to make a motion grant.
Okay, Steele motion to grant.
I'll second.
Awesome. Okay, we have a, and the restrictions that he's placed under Brenda, that's not up to us. We don't need to talk about that. That's how it's, okay, so we have a Steele motion to grant, seconded by Ms. Awesome. Is there any other discussion before we vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye, those opposed say nay. Please call the roll.
Board Member Alders.
Aye.
Board Member Beck.
Aye.
Board Member Brown.
Aye.
Board Member Hall.
Nay.
Board Member Lieberman.
Aye.
Board Member Myers.
Hey.
Board Member Steele.
Hey.
Board Member Austin.
Aye.
Yeah, mine was I. That's.
Thank
I
you.
said, hey.
I was going to come
Yeah,
back to
it was I.
and Chair Rao.
Okay. 6-3, that motion passes. Okay, next up is Dr. Kaufman, did you want to come talk to us before we?
Sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Who was next?
Steven Anderson.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, yes, I would ask, in October, we had a very long and somewhat contentious discussion until we got to a point where our member Austin suggested that we would see have Dr. Kaufman take a look at this to help us make a decision, because it was becoming very obvious we weren't going anywhere. And so I was wondering if we could just forego he's got to come in here. But can we just forego going over anything else and hear Dr. Kaufman? And then do recognize that Mr. Anderson has some guests. That's his brother.
His brother, yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Were you here last time?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, and that's his dad.
That's right.
Who's 92 years old.
That's right.
And probably getting kind of tired of sitting around here. But in any event, he was here to testify as well. So could we just hear Dr. Kaufman and then probably get to the point where we want to make a decision, we'll decide, okay?
What's your wishes, board? It's not my decision.
Are we talking about not having a discussion?
No,
Well, a discussion, if we decide to have one, let's have it after Dr. Kaufman has.
he's proposing we hear from Dr. Kaufman and then make a decision on whether we want to go further. Yes, no? I certainly don't have a problem with trying that. So Dr. Kaufman, come on up. Brenda, you might as well come along. And you understand what we requested in that October?
Requested psychosexual.
Yeah.
I think that was a very wise request. And so I met with Steven on 2 occasions. And the first time, he didn't mention some of the things that were important. 2004 parole violation. I didn't even realize there was a violation. And so I interviewed him a second time. But Steven, the first time we met, he kind of provided the same information that he provided to law enforcement back in 1990, I think it was, in that all these items that he had in the bag were for practical reasons. Everyone's familiar with this case, I'm assuming, had all these handcuffs and ropes and hooks and things like that in this rape kit bag. And he said that, again, like he told law enforcement, they're all for using for practical reasons, which didn't make any sense. So the second time I talked to him through Zoom about his parole violation, which involved a sexual assault on a woman at a gas station.
And Doctor, if I get, were that just over a course of 2 days? Was it
Like 4 days apart.
okay.
Yeah, I think one was the 25th of January and one was the 29th. After I found that information, I asked him about it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now you've lost me.
Sure.
What?
I interviewed
The
Steve.
interview.
Yeah, on the 25th of January, I was in Springfield doing some assessments. I interviewed Steve. Yes. And we talked all about his case. And we talked about the 1980 case where he got probation, which really was his first offending behavior. He went into a college dorm room, had his face covered with pantyhose, and stood there and watched a young woman sleeping for about 10 minutes. He denied pulling blankets back or touching her, but really that was his first rape type of behavior that got him in trouble. He also admitted to some pre-offense behaviors before that, as far as peeking, prank calling, but unfortunately at the time when I met with Stephen the first time, he was not admitting that his actions had intentions of rape or anything like that. He was just wanting to look at women sleeping. Fantasy was that, you know, the woman would wake up and want to be sexual with him in a consensual way. But he didn't bring any tools of rape to the 1980 crime. And so the 1990 crime that he's here for now, he spent months planning that offense he talked to me about. He prank called these women. He cut their phone lines a month before he actually got caught the second time. He brought a rape kit to the first one also. Now, when I interviewed him the second time, he admitted that the rape kit was there. If the women weren't willing to be consensual, then he would probably use those tools to have sexual contact with the women. And so really pretty remarkable for him to admit that in 4 days later and show some promise. But Steven shows he's a very smart, intelligent individual, very methodical, very organized, planned, and the rest of his life was going very well. But he was having all this sexual deviancy on the side, and which makes him show lots of characteristics of a serial rapist, which are the most difficult to catch. And then I saw that he was out for 4 years in 2000, and there was this sexual assault that occurred on this woman. So I asked him about that, and he admitted that he did that. So the long and short of it is, I think that Steven really needs to participate in sex offender treatment and start to work on taking some responsibility for his motivations, and get a history polygraph on him. I think would be really helpful, and be in a much better position if the board wants to give him a chance in the community again. But without some of those things, I think it'd be very difficult for him to, or the chances would be much less for him to be able to succeed, and perhaps there'd be another victim like it happened in 2004. Because Steve was out in 2000, from 2000 to 2004, wasn't involved in treatment, wasn't taking polygraphs. Who knows what really happened in those 4 years, hopefully nothing. But this offense occurred at 1 a.m. in a gas station. First of all, he's out at 1 a.m., shouldn't have been. You know, that's the time that he gets himself in trouble. All of his offenses occur between 12 and 2 a.m. The 1980 offense, the 1990 offense, and then the 2004 offense. And so said he was leaving a friend's house, but he shouldn't have been out at 1 a.m. And then he's at this gas station, and the cashier at the gas station was somebody he knew from prison. It all just kind of sounds suspicious a little bit to me, that maybe the guy said, "Hey, Steve, there's this drunk lady down here needs a ride." I hope not, but those would all be things that'd be really important for him to work on in treatment and start to identify some of his thinking patterns that contribute to these fantasies and rape, and because he has lots of potential otherwise. But that's what I'm concerned about with him.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
When he took this woman from the gas station, ostensibly he was going to give her a ride home.
Right.
What did the assault actually amount to?
Well, he started going the wrong direction, and then he gave her a story that he's home from Iraq and is interested in sexual activity, and she started to get scared and wanted to remind him he's going the wrong direction. And then he started to put his hand on her leg and her vagina, and she started resisting and telling him no and stop. And for some reason, I don't know if he turned the car around at that point, but she was going to jump out of the car, but the doors were locked, and he grabbed her, and then he turned the car around and brought her back to the residence because she had called her boyfriend on the phone, and looked like that maybe there might be somebody who would know something about this, but that was the extent of the assault.
That's as far as that assault.
That's as far as that went, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Austin.
I just have a few follow-up questions. First, I just want a reality check, or so make sure I'm on the right track on this. What really stood out to me is putting this on a whole different level of offender profile is that I understood Mr. Steele had, for the original home invasion, was he had a syringe of cyanide. And that, I mean, that shows a level of amazing planning to even get that. That also shows that the ultimate intent was not simply just to rape and terrorize these women, but to also kill them if he had to, probably, you know, with the cyanide. So am I right on that, or is that, did I read the record wrong?
No, that's.
And then, the other question I had is on this 2004. At the time that this occurred, he was not undergoing any sort of polygraphs or anything. So we really don't know what was going on with him during that time.
Correct.
I was also, that really concerned me in a lot as well, because it showed a level of impulsivity that he hadn't displayed before, which again, I mean, what is your impression of trying to, how successfully are impulsive sex offenders, can they be monitored?
You're, yes,
That was
you're
a
right.
bad question. I hope you understood that.
His 2004 offense is very, very different than his other two offenses. His other two offenses, 1980 and 1990, 1990 especially, was much more planned, organized. The 2004 offense was opportunistic. It was much more impulsive, out of character for his profile offending, certainly. So that that one was a bit surprising. I don't know what was going on there, why he was out at 1 a.m. And his buddy let him know about this woman. So that one is out of character.
Ms. Austin,
I guess for me,
Ms. Austin,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
you said Mr. Steele a second ago. You were on Mr. Anderson. I hope you know I know you're talking about this.
I do.
Okay, all right, well, fine, thank you.
All right. Sorry, I've just been by myself in a room for an hour and a half, so I'm not very articulate. But so it just from what I understand, the impulsivity and crimes of opportunity just present a much more difficult candidate for supervision. Do you agree with that, or am I off base?
Well, I think at this point it's a little unknown, because I think Steven would respond well to accountability measures like GPS and polygraph monitoring, and so he shows a level of control in his other offenses. His 2004 offense does look opportunistic and impulsive, so that one definitely is an outlier. But on the whole, I would anticipate that two things. First of all, he'd have to do well in treatment and own his motivations and start to work on some of his cognitive issues that contribute to his offending behavior. And so if he can do that, and in the community, I would anticipate that he'd respond pretty well to surveillance measures. So.
Okay, thank you.
Some of these things we suggest he does while he's still in the institution.
Absolutely.
Before he goes out.
Yep. Yeah, so, if we have his polygraph and we see how he does in treatment, it might be a different presentation to you after that occurs to say, this is where things started, this is the progress Steve has made, or maybe he doesn't want to make that progress, but if he can start to work in that direction and own some of those beliefs and work on some of that thinking, and then be in a better position to be safe in the community and successful.
In a timeline.
Oh, maybe year and a half, 2 years. It depends if he's willing to, work on his issues.
Anything else you wanna?
Oh, yeah, okay, well, I was looking at him when we did the hearing. He was out on parole about 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
For 4 years and 4 months. He had good jobs, he worked. And at that time, I think he even had a wife, and he was doing well as far as anybody could see until he did this thing at the gas station. And since he's been back for about 20 years, I think his behavior.
Oh, absolutely.
Never gets it right up. Yeah. It's perfect. And it is interesting to me, and maybe we could, at times when he's been eligible to go, he has waived his hearings.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I should have asked him because I'm wondering why he did that. I don't know why. But anyway, the best way I could describe what's happening with him is it's just really totally weird. But 20 years sitting in the joint, behaving yourself perfectly well. And I've seen sex offenders go out that seem a lot more active than this guy does. But in any event, thanks.
Yeah, and to speak to that a little bit, so Stephen, as I understand his preceding behaviors, he was happily married, he was doing well in the community, he is fathering a child, everything looked very good, but at the same time he was doing these behaviors secretly, and so for this subset of men who rape, they're very difficult to really catch because they don't have other indicators, and maybe he's a type of rapist, even though he was having satisfying sexual activity with his wife, he needed to take it. He needed to take sex. And there are some men that, and until he's ready to embrace it, that's the motivation, until he's ready to accept that and work on it, unfortunately, he'll still just exist up there.
So we have a problem catching the smart ones.
Yeah, and he wasn't under surveillance though for 4 years, and so that would be helpful. And if he's willing to accept the fact that, hey, I can't be out at 1 a.m., that's just one of my risk factors. And if I see a woman that I want to follow, or if I see a woman who's attractive and I'm wondering about where she lives, those are things that he has to be willing to identify as a risk factor. Like an alcoholic can't have a beer at the Super Bowl party, even if it's just one. He can't do that. Those are just things he can't do.
Okay.
Thanks.
So where do we go from here? You want to bring it in?
Well, the thing is, we have to bring him in, I think, but still, I would do the interview if we brought him in and wanted to do it. Do we want to?
It's your
okay. I don't want to. I don't think we need to do that interview and go through the whole thing. We could we're obviously going to have to go to some sort of discussion. Yeah. And I think he should be here when we do the discussion.
Well, and you want to hear from his
I want to ask if and I'm sure they're here, they've been sitting here for a couple hours now.
Yeah.
If his brother and his father want to say something. Yeah. Paul, you have something you want to say.
Good catch.
It's just as simple as I want you guys to know that he has family support. He has always had family support, and we'll be there for him to help him make a successful transition. We have 2 daughters, they're early 30s. Maybe being around them will help him somewhat, just interacting with them, seeing that, they're just regular people too. Other than that, I don't know what to say.
Mr. Chair, can I ask him a couple questions?
Absolutely.
Plus,
What do you do for a living?
well, I'm retired like right now, but I had a career in IT, computers.
Okay. And I should say, you look young to be retired, but that's okay.
I get that from my mother's side.
Okay. Tell me if you, and I could have asked him this, but I'm going to ask you. He was married at one time and he had a child. And I assume he's not married anymore.
No, she made sure, she took all that away. She divorced him, denied custody or any visitation with the grandson for my folks.
At one point in time, though, I read a letter that she wrote where she was supportive of him. So she wasn't always mad at him.
Not always, not always. I don't know.
And you wouldn't certainly blame her for not appreciating the activity that he was involved in.
Oh, no, we understand perfectly what she's going through.
Do you have any contact? Does the family have contact with her? What about the child? I mean, he's not a child anymore.
No contact with him at all.
Thanks.
Okay.
Mr. Anderson.
Ken Anderson.
Yeah, I should remember your name, Ken. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to say something?
Well, yeah, my wife passed away January 4th. Paul is from the Denver area. He's spent this whole month with me to support me. He obviously has got to get back to his family. And we're hoping that Steve would be available. He'd live with me, so I'd have somebody that would help support me. I've had 3 heart attacks and I've got balance problems, and so I need somebody. And I've got a daughter, but she lives in Wisconsin, so there's no relatives in our area that would be able to check me on a daily basis.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask what the board would, I'll interview him if you want me to.
Well, my suggestion would be, and again, the board, please have your input too if you disagree with me, but I think we bring him in and let him do what do you want us to consider before we make a decision? That's the only question.
Well, yeah,
So
if he's going to be interviewed, I'll do the interview, and that's not the way I would do it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's up to you. Like I said, it's your
I'll
case.
do the interview.
It's your case, okay?
Okay.
Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in.
Other people.
morning.
Good morning. You probably know that I'm Ken Albers and that I sent you up here to be seen by the full board.
That's correct.
And so let's just visit about that. You're what, 63 years old?
Correct.
And came into the penitentiary how many years ago?
1990.
In 1990, you've been out on parole once for 4 years or better.
Yep.
And you've been back off of that, you've been since, that's about 20 years ago.
A little over, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, would you tell the board what it is that you did in Vermillion back in what year? And whatever.
19.
Yeah. You were a student.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
went, and you got a degree on there, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. So what did you do?
Three of us went over, went over to the women's dorm. One guy wanted to see a couple friends. And during that process, we got separated. I was looking for them. I couldn't find them. I went up to one of the floors I thought they might be at, and they weren't there that I could see. There were some keys in the door. I opened up that door and went into that room.
And you must have done more than that.
And there's a young lady asleep in the room. And yeah, I panicked, and her roommate come home, and I left.
Did you have a sock over your head?
I think I did, yes, at that time.
So don't make light of what you did.
No.
It's like weird as hell. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then you went to court. Did you plead guilty?
I did.
And did you get a suspended imposition of sentence?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so you went on with your life for a while. You had a wife and a child.
Yep.
And then you did what you're here for today, right?
Yep.
And tell us what that was.
It was a burglary. And
I'm going to suggest to you not to make light of this.
No.
What you did.
Yeah.
I think even you would agree, wouldn't you, that it's as strange as hell?
Well, yes, yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going through kind of a rough period in my life. And I felt, I kind of had low self-esteem. I felt some issues there. I felt some need to have some control. Felt I was losing control somewhat of some things in my life, relationship with my wife. And I accumulated some things. And one day when she was out of town, I ventured out and burglarized a home by opening a window. Some things I had with me, I didn't use any of those items, but they gave me comfort and power knowing I had them in my possession. They heard me at the house while I was there, and dog that barked. And when between all the commotion, I kind of retreated to the backyard and just sat and kind of thought, what the heck am I doing here? Prior to that, I did cut a line I thought was maybe a cable TV or a phone. It turned out to be a phone line. And I just, like I said, sat there, was leaving.
You cut
a line, cord on the side of the house.
What did you think you were cutting?
I thought it was cable TV or a phone. I didn't know which one.
And why would you do that?
Just this being kind of had a weird fantasy or, type thought go through my mind.
Okay.
And
so then
I thought it might cause them to get up, move around the house.
How did you get caught?
Well, I was leaving to go to my car, and there's a police car sitting right between me and my car. So I panicked and.
Oh, somebody must have. Well, the phone line wasn't cut.
Apparently,
Police car just happened to be there?
No, they called the police. I heard they called the police. Yeah.
Okay. So at some point
So I was caught in the neighborhood.
you got, Russ Kading was your lawyer, right?
Yes, yes.
And was that court-appointed lawyer, or did you pay for it?
I paid for that, yes.
Yeah, okay. And then at some point in time, did the state's attorney write your lawyer a letter and ask him if you'd like to come in and confess to a couple other similar crimes from a couple of years before?
Not to my knowledge. Russ never indicated any of that to me.
Okay.
And nor did I get a copy of a letter from Russ indicating that.
So then at your sentencing period, you took the stand.
Yes.
And did the state's attorney ask you if you had committed crimes a couple of years before?
He did, yes.
And what was your answer to that?
Well, I don't remember exactly, but I know one, was, I think the day my son was born, so I was at the
What did you
hospital.
deny having done it 2 years ago or whatever?
Yeah, I
You
wasn't,
said no.
yeah, I wasn't involved with them, and
Okay.
one day in particular, I remember what it was.
And then did the state's attorney inform the judge at the sentencing hearing that you were suspected of doing some things a couple of years ago? That you denied them, that they had offered you immunity if you would plead guilty, or if you would come to the office and admit what you did. And then you having denied that while you were on the stand there, the state's attorney explained why they thought you did this, and they told the judge that they'd offered you immunity, but that they thought you were lying.
Yeah, the first that I was aware of any of that was at sentencing. When it was,
I beg pardon?
the first I heard of it was at sentencing. Russ Katie never had that
He
conversation.
never told you that?
No.
Okay,
No,
all right.
I was not aware of that. That there
And
was
so
any,
now,
yeah.
since you've been back off parole
Mhm.
for 20 years,
Yes.
how many minor write-ups have you had while you were back? In 20 years.
2, maybe. I think.
Have you had any majors?
No.
Okay. Why did you waive some of your hearings? You had a chance to come up for parole from time to time, and sometimes you just didn't care to have the hearing. Could you tell us why?
Well, at the time, I didn't know, I feel I was ready. I did see the board, and they kind of indicated that it might be a while before they would be ready to parole me.
Okay, so you just waived some hearings?
Yes, so
Yes.
I thought it would be in the best interest to
Okay.
waive some hearings. So,
And now you are here, having indicated you've applied for parole,
yes,
and you think that it's time for you to go.
I think I'm ready, yes.
Okay. I was wondering, do any members of the board have questions or comments?
Answer the question, why do you think you're ready? That's
Well,
pretty conclusory statement.
It is, yeah. You know, I'm ready because over the past 20 years, I've matured, and my outlook on things have looked a lot different. My priorities in life. I've gone from being more open-minded of others and trying not to be self-centered about myself. I've increased my self-esteem and feel better about myself. But I've used some of the tools and things that resources here to make myself better. I went through a thinking for the change class, and that alone made me more aware of looking at pros and cons and thinking through your actions and the results of your actions before you do anything. I've also been involved in alternatives to violence. I try to help other people. I've facilitated over 100 workshops in that program. I also help tutor students for getting their GEDs. So I've kind of changed my outlook to try and help others, to better others as well, to increase their potential in life. And I just, like I said, I've learned the biggest deterrent of all is the amount of time, over 20 years I've been back. That's really changed my outlook as well.
Well, it is a long time, but frankly, the charges that you came in on and the circumstances that were addressed there. What about the sex offense, the urges, the issues there? How are you going to address those? Are you?
Well, there again, my priorities have changed a lot. I don't have fantasies or thoughts of that anymore. Like I said, I look more at how others, and I look at empathy and compassion and how I can relate that to how I treat others.
Are you willing to take sex offense courses and perhaps polygraph?
I am. My case manager talked to me. She said my sexual offender code is a one and the policy doesn't dictate that the program is necessary there. And that was confirmed through Tom Gilchrist also. You mentioned that. We talked one time. Yep.
Anyone else have questions? All right, then. Yeah.
Sure, I have a question.
No, I'm doing this.
Okay. I have a question. Unless I missed something, did you answer Mr. Brown's last question?
Yeah, I said I would, but policy, DOC policy, which they follow, doesn't require it. So that's why.
Okay, so the policy requires that you do that.
No, that I'm not I'm included.
So how do you feel about doing it?
Well, I can't change policy myself, but I would be willing to do that. Generally, what I've found over the course of the last 20 years is they follow policy to the letter, and they don't deviate from it.
I'm not sure, but I think if the board ordered that you take sex offender treatment on the outside, that you could do that. So if that happened, would you do that?
Yes.
Without a problem. How would you get to where you have to go?
Well, I plan on, getting a job like most people and then, purchasing some transportation.
What kind of job would you look for?
Well, I'd like to do something in science field. I have background in computers. I have background in, and I've kept those skills current working here at various jobs. So I'd like to do something.
So maybe maybe this is an unfair question, but why did you do this stuff that you did?
No, it's not a very fair question. Just fantasy and reality, and just fantasy is what it was. And
so you sit around thinking about this kind of stuff?
Rarely, but occasionally. Yeah. Now I don't, but I did at that time, 35 years ago.
If you want to, take a minute. Tell this board why you want to get out on parole.
Why? Well, like I said, I've looked at things. My outlook in life has been different. As I've matured, I have grown, I feel, as an individual. I've looked at how I can help others versus, being taken advantage of a situation. And I think the time is right so that I can still be a productive member and try to support myself out there. I appreciate your guys' time.
All right, then. The next thing, you want to turn it back to you?
Yeah, we will get you a decision within the next 10 days.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so he will have further discussion.
Well, yes, but the inmates, he leaves.
Okay.
Okay.
He says that's the
But his dad and his brother.
everybody else can stay because
Okay.
but it's not open to the community. That's done for suits for security reasons. We had some guys get mad at them. So we changed that policy. Any discussion? Board members?
Mr. Chairman,
I have a little, oh.
Here we go. Mr. Brown's got the floor.
If you want to go ahead with Pete, that may be easier than, well, I guess this case troubles me a little bit from the standpoint, one, we didn't have Dr. Kaufman's report when we were here before. I'm not sure I had all the information that's contained in our documents now when we initially looked at this. This gentleman's been in the state's custody for 30 years, had one shot at parole after 10 years. It's been now 20 years since he's been out. I've got some real concerns about his behavior. I think he was a little bit maybe deceitful. Perhaps it was the question. I don't think he was fully forthcoming on what happened in the circumstance back in '89. But he's been in a long time. He's indicated that perhaps that with proper disclosure, and if he really was willing to participate in the sex offender treatment and polygraph history, maybe there's a chance for him. But I think we're sitting here with the case where this guy's got a 100-year sentence. He's either going to get out at some point in the fairly near future, or he's going to stay in here for the rest of his life. And whether that's the appropriate outcome or not, I don't know.
Mr. Lieberman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In response to Ken Albert's question, Mr. Anderson said that the reason he acted this way was that he was involved with his fantasies. But I would suggest this was far more than fantasy, that on 3 occasions, he was potentially going to rape, hurt, or actually kill women, that he was not where he was supposed to be on 3 separate occasions. And at this point, it appears to me that unfortunately, Mr. Anderson is very bright, very calculating, a good planner, and that he is a serial rapist, and he is scaring me. And he's had 3 shots now where women have escaped him for one reason or another. And it's a question of whether this board wishes to throw the dice on a 4th shot and what will happen at that point. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm not, 3 times, what is that? The 3rd one? There was the thing at Vermillion, and the thing he's been convicted of.
And then there's the.
And then, well, on parole.
Violation.
Oh, parole violation, okay.
When you had the lady who was giving.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
Any other discussion from the board?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Austin.
I agree with Peter that this case is a roll of the dice simply because we have no information really about what this guy's motivations are, his amenability to treatment, or even what he did on the outside. And that's through no fault of Mr. Anderson or this board really, or the system. It's just the fact, it's because he came in on a burglary charge. So I think now we have a chance to rectify those information gaps. And just to be transparent, I would vote to deny parole right now, but I would want him to go through the same sex offender treatment on the inside that every other sex offender gets to go through. And also that he passes a history polygraph before he is considered for parole again. My sense from Dr. Kaufman is that he might have difficulty passing a history polygraph. And if that's the case, parole is kind of, parole's out of the question without doing that. So I don't know how we'd go about doing, if we'd have to order that he undergo swamp treatment right now inside. I guess that's a question for you or the staff.
Well, I think Dr. Kaufman laid it out pretty well, what should be required in the next 18 months. Keep in mind, this is an old case, so we can only put him out 8 months, but we can put him out again if we see any progress. And I don't mean to be leading the discussion here. I'm just telling you what I think at this point. If there's any additional discussion, let's have it. If not, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, just really quickly, I'd like to say this. And it really bothered me when I saw he came in with these 2 charges that were dismissed. And I know that maybe you don't remember it. But then the judge or somebody apparently decided to go ahead and prosecute. So actually what I did is I went to the courthouse and pulled the file. And what I was talking to him about, he did, the state's attorney wrote a letter to Russ Cady indicating that he would, that Mike Larson, a detective, thought these cases were very similar to some that had happened a couple of years ago. And would he consider coming in and admitting that he did that, in which case they would give him immunity on the charges. Now, I guess they weren't a closed case, but he also indicated that if he does admit it, we will bring it up at his sentencing. And so, as apparently his lawyer decided that wasn't a good idea, so they didn't do it. They also, in that letter, indicated that if he denied it and said he didn't do it, then they'd like to do a polygraph. And if he indicated on the polygraph he was telling the truth, then they would dismiss the charges. Okay, so if you look at his criminal history right now, there were charges, 2 of them, that were dismissed. What actually happened is the state's attorney's office did file the charge that we're looking at along with the Part 2 information. And then they went to a sentencing hearing without him talking to him. And then the state's attorney asked him on the stand whether he did these crimes 2 years ago. We're at the sentencing hearing. And he said no. And then the state's attorney said, and I'm paraphrasing here, while we think he did it, we gave him a chance. I wrote him a letter. He didn't come in. He didn't take the immunity that we offered. Here's what happened 2 years ago, and he looks like the guy that did it. And this is at his sentencing hearing. And so we got 100 years with 20 years suspended. And so that's why you see, if you looked at his criminal history today, you'll see those 2 cases that were dismissed. And I always wondered, where did they come from? Now I know, and now you know. I just thought you should know about that.
Again, we're at the point where I would entertain a motion either to.
And I got a question.
Correct.
And I'm still not clear on whether we can order him
Yes,
to
we
do
can.
this treatment inside.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, we can.
all right.
Any other questions? Okay, like I say, I would entertain a motion. It's either if you put into a denial motion, 8 months is the maximum we can deny for, or we can do a grant motion.
Mr. Chair,
Mr.
I'll try to hazard a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I motion to deny parole, set out 8 months with a further board order that he commence SOMP classes. Complete, I'm sorry. Complete the SOMP course and take and pass a history polygraph.
But just to say that a different way, and I want to just make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
You're going to say deny for 8 months and follow Dr. Kaufman's recommendation. Right?
If that gives Kaufman enough leeway to do what he wants.
Yeah, and
even though there's
out pretty well, and he was here, and I know what he wants to do. He's still here. If we do that, Dr. Kaufman, that would work.
Yeah,
right?
I think that would be.
He's affirmed that would work if we just put it in his lap.
Yeah. So what he said.
Okay, perfect. That's what I kind of said too. That motion.
I'll second.
Yeah, the motion is to deny for 8 months and follow Dr. Hoffman's recommendation as far as the polygraph and the stump treatment. So with that, is there any other discussion before we vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye, those opposed say nay. Please call the roll.
Board Member Albers,
No.
Board Member Beck,
Aye.
Board Member Brown,
Aye.
Board Member Hall,
Aye.
Board Member Lieberman,
Aye.
Board Member Myers,
Nay.
Board Member Steele,
Aye.
Vice Chair Odson,
Aye.
Chair Rao.
Aye. By a vote of 7-2, that motion passes. Okay. All right, now we've got Phillip Steele is up next. And that's Mr. Albers and Ms. Steele. Then who's going to lead that?
Yes.
Ms. Steele is going to lead the, you are? Ms. Steele?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I am.
I want to clarify again. Maybe I misunderstood, maybe everybody misunderstood me, but I think that when you do the hearing or do the interview, when you're done with the interview, you need to turn it over to me to ask for questions from the board. That's when.
Okay, I didn't do that.
Thank you. No.
Okay, I'm
That's what
sorry. Yeah, it's new to me.
Well, I mean, it's new, it is new, but I still think it should come back to me then, and then I.
Okay, so God forgive me, but if I happen to not notice it, would you just give me the high signs?
Okay, it's not a big deal.
I'm not
Like I
trying
say,
to put you out.
We'll grow into it, but
Yeah.
what brought up is when you recognize Mr. Hall, and I think I should be recognizing Mr. Hall for his questions, so that's where, just a discussion.
Well, I'll try.
Yeah, do the interview and then turn it over to me.
Okay.
Go ahead. Now, go ahead and say again, board discussion, first of all, board discussion before we hear from Mr. Roberts.
Could I just say?
Go ahead.
All right. And Dr. Kaufman is still here.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Dr. Kaufman, did you want to talk about Mr. Steele? Yes.
I don't think so.
Brenda, any comments on Steele?
Hold on to the.
Oh.
Good.
So I'm not going to go over what his convictions are or anything. I think everybody's familiar with the case. On the MNSOST, he scored as a level R, which is our highest risk offender. If he were to get out in the community, we would recommend GPS, transitional housing. He's been inside the institution for a long time. He has passed his history polygraph. Also, he's individualized, so if he were to get out into the community, he'd be an offender that would work with his parole agent and treatment provider. So he hasn't went through our institutional SOP programming, but again, he did pass a history polygraph.
And it should be said that passing a history, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Roberts, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You could pass a history polygraph and have 2 pages of sex offenses as long as you're telling the truth.
Right. It's what your admissions.
Yeah. This guy has passed a history polygraph and it indicates thereon that he admits to the instant offense.
Right.
And then there's one other one from when he was like 15 years old or something like that.
Yep, when he was 15, he offended on a 9-year-old female, and then at the age of 35, there was a 15 or 16-year-old female he admits to. Yep, so 2.
That's it on the history polygraph.
On the history, yes.
Well, so why is he MSOST-R?
I would have to pull up his assessment to go over in
Well,
detail,
okay,
but
don't do that, but
Okay.
Isn't it true, and I'm not trying to argue about it, but he has been kind of accused of and not willing to admit to other things. But he's passed the history polygraph.
right, but something just to keep in mind for everybody is the history polygraph has 2 relevant questions. His relevant questions were, did you have sexual contact with anyone under the age of 16 that you refused to disclose? And that was before 1992, so anything after 1992 would not have been included. And then, did you have sexual contact with anyone who did not consent before 1992? So again, anything that we just need to make sure we realize that those are the only questions that were covered as relevant questions in the history. So.
Why didn't he have his polygraph? It's the work going to cover everything.
Well, that's just how history polygraphs work. So his instant offense must have been in 92 is my guess.
Okay.
Yep, so that's what the history polygraph does. His instant offense, it goes backwards from there and just is the history of all offending. So, but the MNSOST-R, I mean, some general information is he has more than one victim, so he would have hit on different age ranges. He used force. He has more than one conviction.
His convictions amount to the sex offense that we're talking about.
Right.
And an escape.
And then does he have the juvenile sex offense? Like I said, I'd have to pull up the MNSOST to get the.
His Dr. Kaufman's psychosexual, this is a long time ago.
Yep,
Scott,
right.
That's not what he's here for.
Mm-hmm.
Indicated that he was asked about a lot of things that he'd been accused of.
Right.
And he denied them.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a history polygraph.
And admitted to some of them.
And he passed it. Okay. Now, I think personally that he probably beat the polygraph. I don't know.
There's a possibility, yeah.
But I do think it's interesting to know that he passed the history polygraph and he doesn't have a long string of any kind of offenses that were brought up.
If he admits to the ones that
why
we know about.
do history polygraph? That's the question that I don't. It's a rhetorical. Is that the right word?
Well, we do it to get one for offenders to take accountability for their offending and admit to it if they're denying, and to find out about maybe possible victims that we don't know about. And maybe this when he was 35 and he had a 15 or 16-year-old victim, we may not have known about that. The other 2 we were aware of. So.
Okay. Can I say? I have some other discussions.
Well, you want to discuss before we bring them in?
Yeah.
The board discussion right now.
Well, it's going to take me just a minute to tell you.
Okay.
I think the reason this guy has been in the penitentiary for 32 years without having parole, and he did have, I'll talk to him about that, but on the front side, he did this escape thing. He killed 10 years, he flatted it a long time ago. But I think the reason he doesn't get paroled or hasn't been, I read a report by Dr. Kaufman where he did a psychosexual, and I think he laid out what the problem is. It has nothing to do with sex necessarily. He said that this guy presented at the interview with a boastful and superior demeanor. This guy is easy not to love. And that's what he comes in with. Now, it's not as bad as it used to be. But when he comes here, you'll see that he is boastful and superior demeanor. I just think that's kind of interesting. All right.
Okay, ready to bring him in? All right.
Okay, I'm give me a hard time because I'm.
No, run it like you're normal hearing.
Thank you.
It's Phillip Steele out of Israel. Okay.
Yeah, we're on Phillip Steele. for the, I just like to make sure we're on the right page. We've got a lot of, people that want to test.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes, remember that.
In the room and the groups.
And some of those are for and some are against.
Yes.
So how do I handle that? Okay, it's my call. All right.
Either, I would, again, if I was you, I'd take the fours or the, and then the against or vice versa. Was against and then, like we do with commutation.
But can I do that after I've been?
Yes, yes.
You got yours fixed now?
It sounds like they're going to have. It's
I see you right there.
something like that.
Go ahead, Mr. Evans.
Good morning. I guess it's still morning.
This guy's talking to you.
Oh, good morning. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. I was deaf.
You're all, well,
Yeah, I just had a cold, came out of a cold.
okay.
Still kind of got a little bit.
Okay, so I'm gonna interview you if that's the appropriate term. Would you look at me when I'm talking to you?
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Steele and I brought you to the full board because we thought they could have a look at you. I particularly, I think you're probably ready for parole. So we have to decide whether that's the case or not, okay? Having said that, would you state your name and your inmate number?
My name is Philip Don Steele Senior, and my number is 16389.
Okay. Now, there are some people here who are supportive of you getting out on parole. Yes. Do you want to tell us who they are?
That's my friend Richard Chesky.
Okay, and he's a friend.
Yes, he's a friend of mine. That's Kathleen Steele, my wife.
Yes.
That's my daughter, Catherine. And that's my brother.
Okay. Now, are there some people on the who are opposed?
Yeah, Mr. Steele's son is also now joined on team, and he's down there in the corner by Jeff. And then AS is here, and then her friend is here.
So I just wanted to know that they'll be recognized at some point. And will the people that are for? You understand?
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. Second here. You're what, 67 years old?
Yeah, till April. I'll be 68 in April.
Yeah, okay. Where are you from?
I grew up in Rapid City mostly. I was raised there. That's what I call home. But I'm from Pine Ridge. I was born there.
Okay, all right. You're doing time right now on two numbers, if I'm correct. Well, you flatted a number.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like you to explain that escape charge. You came into the penitentiary charged with rape second degree.
Yes.
And at some point you escaped after that, right?
Yes.
Explain that to the board.
Well, they took me back in 93, September 20th for a funeral. And I had just got done with trial and everything and got convicted and came to prison. And when I went back to the funeral, a lot of my family was upset, of course, because I got 100 years back then. And the trial didn't go good, so a lot of them didn't want me to come back. And I had some people, some of my family was in tribal courts, tribal politics. And I knew about the extradition because I took up tribal law. And so I thought if I could fight them down there and get them to look at my case again or something, you know, I was trying to find a way to fight back. And in the meantime, the South Dakota Supreme Court overturned that conviction. And I had a second trial.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I had a retrial. And I was kind of upset because the plea bargain was offered in the beginning at 10 to 15 years. And I said, no, I'm not taking that. Pat Schroeder was my attorney back then. And he said, well, the plea bargain's on the table. I believe it's 10 to 15 years. And he said, but there ain't a jury in the state that'll convict you, fellow. I'll blow this out of the water. And he walked out of the room. And so I was kind of.
Okay, so explain the escape to me.
Well, I was trying to.
I don't want to go.
Focus. Yeah, I was trying to get the media. I had a lot of media. Anything I did.
I don't care.
Okay.
I want to know what you did that.
I was trying to fight them. That's all I was doing. I was trying to go onto my reservation to seek amnesty or get.
So how did you escape?
Oh, I was on a funeral for a while. I just walked away, got in a car and left.
And there are no officers there watching you or anything?
Yes, there was. They were inside eating.
And you walked to a car and drove away?
Mm-hmm.
You were the driver?
No.
Well,
a family member, Joe.
All right, so I'm not going to ask it. But anyway, so you actually got like 10 years for that, right?
Yes.
And so that's flatted. You did that already.
Yeah. And then Keene added 7 more years to the 100 years for the escape.
Okay. Yeah. So now, how long have you actually been in the penitentiary? How long were you on the escape thing?
I was only on escape for 3 days.
How many?
3.
3 days.
And then I was in tribal
And you
jail.
came back. So you've been back in the penitentiary?
No, I was in tribal jail for like 28 months or something like that.
Okay.
Fighting the extradition.
Oh, yeah, extradition from the Res.
Yes.
Okay.
Back to
All right.
state prison.
Okay. So we got that straight. Now then, you've been here for about 32 years.
32 years and I think 22 days today.
Okay. And in the 32 years that you've been here, how many minor write-ups have you had?
I think I only got 3 minors.
Over 32 years.
And probably 2 majors.
And then how many majors?
2.
And the last major was how long ago?
Well, the last major was about, I pled guilty to a write-up in Springfield.
Some kind of
couple months ago.
cinnamon sticks or something?
Well, they said synthetic marijuana sticks, but they never punished me for it. I mean, they never showed them to me or charged me, or a kid was smoking tea in the room. And I believe I told them that later on. I said, well, when you guys had them analyzed, I bet you found out it was green tea that another kid in that 6-man room was smoking, lived in that bunk area.
Well, were you found guilty?
No, I pled guilty because they said they let me out of the shoe.
Okay.
So I just pled guilty to it. I didn't care. I
Well,
thought,
how
well,
long were you in the shoe?
like 8 days.
Okay.
But they didn't send me back. They sent me back here. So and then the other write-ups that I had, they never even give us a DHO hearing, and me and my roommate was on the same write-ups, and he grievanced it in the prison here, said our due process was violated. So they took his write-ups off.
Okay, well,
I'm waiting for mine right now to get taken off. That's
I'm
what
actually trying to do what I think you should be trying to do, is that your discipline has been really quite good.
Yeah, I don't get in trouble.
No.
I mean, I don't.
Okay.
I pretty much stay out of trouble.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
And
I'm not involved in no gangs. Not involved in no
I didn't ask you that.
drugs. I mean, that's what goes on here. All the stuff that goes on.
Okay,
I stay out of it, you know.
all right, so why do you suppose it is that you've been here all these many years with a good discipline record and you haven't got out on parole? Why do you think that is?
You know, Ken, I tell you the truth, I've been in 4 times DUI. I was in there. I had a drinking problem. I was in here on a distribution of marijuana charge. I did 2 years. I was out on work release, out at the farm on a DUR charge, 8 months left. And I couldn't make parole. Everybody else made it. I've never been on parole in my life. I've flatted every number that I've ever been given. I did every day of it. I've never been given probation as a juvenile. I've never been on probation. Anytime I got in trouble, I got sent off.
Why do you think?
I don't know. I've been even in training school. My whole group got paroled, and I was the only one left. And they said, well, Philip, you don't have a group anymore. So we're just going to put you on a bus and send you home. I never did. Well, I ran away a lot there. but there was a reason for it. But I couldn't tell them then what it was, but
What I'm actually trying to get at is,
I don't understand why I never been paroled. That's a question. I don't have an answer for it. I don't know why the parole board members never ever wanted me paroled. All I know is Ron Valesky told me one time, he said, I see cases like this, Philip. Once in a while you see a case that falls through the cracks. I mean, I mean, like the staff here, the prison staff, the people that know me, they all say that, geez, Philip, why don't they parole you? You should have been out here a long time ago. I mean, they tell me stuff like that. They don't understand why I'm still in prison.
why are you a full board case?
Because it's I'm under the old law. I was sentenced before 1996. If I was under the new law, I probably would already been gone on this parole. I came up eligible for law, I would have been.
Can somebody remind me, why is he a full board case?
Because you got over 20-year sentence.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Okay.
20 years or more, you've got full board.
Okay.
Well, and it's just to make sure it's clear, he's also a level R MSOS person, which is our highest risk classification.
If you were to be released on parole, what's the plan?
Well, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get all my medical stuff checked out, take care of my medical stuff. I'm gonna go home and live with my wife. She's semi-retired from Sanford. It's been her 35 years. I suppose first thing I want to do is get to know my family again. I got a bunch of new family out there.
So when we saw you at four-person panel, your wife was there as she is today. And you've been married to her for how long?
I don't want to mess this up. Don't ask me those questions. You're gonna get me in trouble later on.
All right.
I'll take a while.
Ballpark.
We've known each other 28 years, and she was married to my best friend, and he got killed, and he used to come up and visit me. We started the LDNSG native group here, and he was the liaison.
Okay.
But anyways, that's how I met her. So I want to say
Ask you how you met her. I asked you
24 years. I'm just gonna throw it out, 24.
Okay. And you told us at the two-person panel, if I recall correctly, that she and you bought a house.
Yeah, 6 blocks from there.
And that if you were to be released on parole, you'd go live with her at this house that you own.
Yeah.
I asked you, since you've been here all this time, where the hell did you get the money to buy a house?
We made a loan together. I had good credit when I came in there. I mean, I had a job. I was
You
arrested.
bought the house when you were out.
No, in here.
You were in.
I was right here in Jameson. Matter of fact, because even the warden couldn't believe that our bank downtown came up here and approved $82,500 loan.
And do you get some money from
The tribe, we do sometimes. Yeah, we got land. I got land down there and stuff.
and you get some lease money or something?
Yeah, we do. I do now.
You still have
Yeah, still got it.
it.
And I got that land that the house sits on over here, so we pay state
Now, the
taxes.
last time, or when we saw you in a two-person, there was a fellow here who was in the legislature. Is he here today?
Oh, do you mean the council, tribal council? That's my youngest son. He's a tribal official. He works.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, he's on the.
If you can hear me.
I'm doing this wrong, but are
Yeah,
you
there he
guys
is.
in the legislature?
No, he's on the tribe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's a tribal official. Well, he's a tribal representative from Wokadee district. They got like.
I got my credentials on the screen. Sorry to interrupt. I brought my credentials. I got them on the screen. As an oath committee, I'm a committee officer, signed off and by the judge, federal judge here on the res. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did want to show my credentials as validated proof. Thank you.
I'm doing this wrong, and I'm going to get called up here in about a minute. So, Your plan is to go live with your wife
Yes, that's what I,
in a
that's what.
house that's 6 blocks from here
Mhm.
that the two of you purchased. And, who else would be living in that house? If it-
We have a son that's 32 years old. He works for Howe Plumbing. He's
Okay,
the
so
manager
whose
there.
child is he?
That's her and my friend that passed on.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my stepson.
Well, why is a 32-year-old guy living in the house?
Well, 'cause I don't want my wife in a 3-bedroom house alone, and I'd rather have my son there to watch her,
Okay. All right.
you know,
So,
and it's cheaper.
where am I at?
I think you need to. Components.
Oh, there are people here who want to speak on behalf of him getting parole. His wife, can I hear from his wife?
Yes, you can. I believe that he was ready for parole. It's changed a lot in the time I have known him. He's never been on parole. He has a lot of medical issues that I would prefer him to be treated outside. He's had colon cancer, he's had esophageal cancer, he's diabetic, he has heart disease, he has neuropathy, high blood pressure. There's a couple other things, but he has medical issues. I would like to be able to have him see outside medical providers so that maybe he doesn't, I believe that he stays here and he doesn't have much time left. I would like to spend a little time with him on the outside. I believe he deserves that chance to go on the outside, get his medical taken care of, build a relationship with his family, his grandchildren. He has grandchildren he's never met. I think he's ready. I beg for mercy that you give him some mercy and let him do parole. And
I have a question that I know I shouldn't ask him. Why would you sit around waiting for him all these years?
I've been asked that a lot. I guess I'm crazy. I love him.
No.
He has a lot of good qualities. We've built a very good marital relationship.
And where did you work? He said, but
I work for Sanford Health.
doing
Worked there for 35 years.
doing what?
I am a janitor.
Okay. And you had a job and you lived in Sioux Falls.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Was there anyone else? A niece?
Yes, I would like to speak. Good morning. My name is Stephanie Yelwigle. I'm Philip's niece. I'm a junior at Ogallala Dakota College, majoring in a bachelor's degree in social work with the emphasis in chemical dependency. I am part of my uncle's support team. With the social work knowledge that I am acquiring, I will act as a support coach to help him re-socialize and reintegrate back into society. I will help him navigate life's challenges in a healthy and effective way. We will work on applying concepts learned and using them in his life, as well as set goals and achieving them. His health conditions worry me more than anything at this time. The prison is ill-equipped to help serve aging prison populations. How will the prison continue to provide adequate care for my uncle considering all of his health issues? Has the parole board took the time to review his medical records and see the amount of medications he has to take every single day? Do they see all the appointments he has to attend and what they are for? With my uncle being incarcerated for 32 years now, I'm trying to understand how having him incarcerated for such a long period of time is beneficial. He has been incarcerated longer than I have been alive. He has embodied what a reformed prisoner can be and do. From a social perspective, the time he has served is harsh. I'm hoping the parole board uses objective data and informed decision-making in my uncle's parole hearing. I ask that you have compassion and mercy and open your hearts to see that my uncle Philip can be a reformed citizen. Please offer him a meaningful chance of release. He has plenty of support, especially his wonderful wife, who has been waiting patiently for him to come home. My uncle is not a threat to society. He is a good man, regardless of those who think otherwise. They do not know him. He has demonstrated to me what resilience looks like, and I'm hopeful for his release. I know that he will do something great if given the chance for parole, We have plans in this life and he is part of them. Thank you for listening and allowing me to speak. We will remain humble and hopeful.
Okay, and I know you told us this. Where are you going to school?
Ogallala Lakota College.
And where is that?
Well, it's located in Kyle, South Dakota, but we actually have college centers on each of the districts. But the one I attend is HESAPA up here in Rapid City, South Dakota. Our social work program is accredited by the National Social Workers Association and is also accredited by the CSWE.
You're gonna help him out somehow. How are you gonna do that? He's gonna be in Sioux Falls and you're gonna be in Rapid City.
It doesn't matter. Being Lakota, we are family. It doesn't matter where you are. We'll always be there. Phone call, text message, whatever. And having support doesn't matter where you are, as long as you have family that's there for you and loves you and cares for you.
Thank you. Is there someone else who wants to speak in support of this?
Anthony, in the left corner.
Okay, Anthony.
Hi. First off, I'd like to say hi, Ken. You know, I remember you from back in the day. You're a good person, and it's good seeing you again and exactly on the opposite walls. It's good seeing you. But I would like to start off by saying I'm Anthony Wayland Steele. I am a representative for my people here in OST, Oglala Sioux Tribe. I have been a committee officer now for about almost a year. It took me a long time to get to where I'm at today, and it took a lot of changing after I was a former inmate in there for 10 years. I just want to say, you know, everything I did to earn to where I'm at today was to be able to help my father and other individuals that have been incarcerated. One thing I like to say is I don't blame anyone. I don't blame the parole board. I don't blame anyone for him being there as long as he has. The only thing that I'm focused on and that the tribe as a whole we're focused on is getting him home, really. You know, whether that's in Sioux Falls or whether that's to the reservation. We've agreed to, we've got like a motion already put into place. Like if he was to be released in the Sioux Falls, we would have like people from our law and order committee or our district follow up with him and stay like supervise him from, you know, the outskirts, not interfere with your guys's parole, but we would just make sure that he's doing what he needs to do and has the resources, because the tribe, we have a lot of resources we offer to individuals who have been incarcerated for a long time, and we can help them. So what I'm asking of the parole board today is to take a strong consideration in how long he's done, how clean his disciplinary record is. And I'd like to ask you guys to give him a chance. I mean, I understand he's a high risk. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've seen get released from prison that are high risk. Leonard Peltier as being one, even though my dad's not even on the same level as that man. But, you know, my dad's done a lot of time. His health is really bad. I have 2 kids now that I've been raising, and they want to know their grandpa. You can assure, I give my word as I took my oath to make sure that if my father is released, we will be supervising him too. Like you guys, I know we don't really have a relationship as tribal and parole, even though sometimes state parolees come to the tribe. It's very rare. But we want to do our part too to make sure we hold him accountable if he's released into the community as an assurance to the parole, to the victim that attends his parole hearings to give her testimony, to ensure everyone that, you know, he's going to be really supervised. He won't have no leeway. You know, it hurts me. It hurts my heart to see him still incarcerated. But I have to be professional. I have to be professional how I represent him. I can't get emotional. So with that being said, I just hope my father is released. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you. Okay. How long have you been doing?
Sorry, what?
How long have you been out of the joint?
I have been out of prison for 5 years now, drug-free.
Okay. All right then. Are other people who wish to, yes, sir,
My name is Richard Lacheski.
okay, you're a friend.
I probably know Phillip Steele better than anybody. I lived with him. I spent 20 years in prison myself. We were roommates for a long time. I know his whole story. I know all of his stories. And if you have any questions of me, please ask. I can probably give you the dialogue better than what Phillip can in most cases. This is a long story. I mean,
Yeah, well, we don't have time for long stories.
yeah, I understand, but I mean, his story is, 51 years, 52 years we've been going on this, 32 years in prison, 32 years. Yeah. They told me when I was in here that I was antisocial. I was a school teacher, ran for politics, community volunteer. I was antisocial in prison. But it was because I didn't want to associate with people that were talking about making drugs all day long, or what they were going to steal next, or who they were going to stalk next, or those kind of things. I didn't associate with those people. And so they wanted to label me.
Okay, this is not, I'm sorry, it's not about you.
I'm getting to it right now. If you wouldn't interrupt me, please. This is the person that I associated with.
Okay.
Because he's decent. He wanted to talk about his kids. He wanted to talk about his family and his vehicles and what he wanted to do when he wanted to get out. This is a decent man. And I'm here to support him.
Okay.
In every fiber of my body. I will do everything that I possibly can to help him. I've been out 8 years now. I've got a farm he can come live on. I will do everything I can to help him. I've already helped 3 other inmates get out of prison, and they've lived with me for about 3 years. And they're all on their own. They're doing fine. And I can do the same for Phillip, and I will help him and his family as I've been doing. Bob and I came down from Rapid today. The roads weren't good, it's cold, and then we had to wait an extra hour.
Well, we did too.
I thought maybe you were paid by the hour or something. I'm teasing, no, but I want to show my support. I want to be an advocate for Phillip, and he should be released. 32 years, that's long enough. I mean, it really is long enough.
And you live at Rapid City?
Excuse me?
You live at Rapid City?
I live in Belfouche, South Dakota.
Belfouche, okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, are there other people here who have that? Yes, sir. What's your name?
I'm Robert. I'm Phillip's brother.
I'm sorry?
Phillip's brother.
Oh, okay.
I myself got in trouble. And we grew up well, you want to get down. We grew up in an alcoholic home. We were poor. We drank, we partied like everybody else in the neighborhood. But the key way to get out and stay out, like he did the crime fighter drunk. Like me, I was in here myself back in 2004. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm raising grandkids. Got my own business going. And you just stay away from the family members that use and drink, they don't come around me. I set my boundary. It's the key word is the support and attend the meetings when he has to attend. To stay out of here and keep your nose clean. Like my family members, they respect my, at first they try to come around and do that, they can't come around. So they just stay away from my family members.
Where do you live?
Huh?
Where do you live?
I live in Apple City.
Okay.
And I handed the business down to my son. He got a bad accident. But we're moving down to the reservation. We got 5 acres fenced off out in the country. And, and all the party people we used to drink, but most of them died now. They drank themselves to death and they died. All the family members, uncles, they're all gone. But now we're about ready to go. We're getting old. We've got health issues.
Okay, thank you.
That's why just hope we get in so you can spend a little bit of time out with us.
Are there other proponents here, people who want to speak on his behalf? So we've got them all. Are there people who do not favor him going on parole?
Right. That's great.
That's
This is a yes.
Autumn Sattler?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, sir. I am his victim of this specific incident. I need to first tell you that he's still lying to you today. He was actually found in Denver, Colorado at the end of 28 months. He was not on the reservation. Unfortunately, he has never taken accountability, and as early as last pre-board hearing, he continued with his family by his side to deny raping me. That was just 30 days ago. Now, all of a sudden, he is ready to admit to it. I don't know that he'll ever admit to what he did to me, and that's okay. But parole is a reward for rehabilitation. How are you rehabilitated if you don't take accountability? And how can you surround yourself with people on the outside that allow you to deny culpability and think that he's not going to reoffend? He just explained to you that he's been in and out of jail since he was 17 and in prison for 33 years. That's why there's no other victims, is because he spent most of his life in jail where he belongs. I implore you to look back at least the fact that he was not on the reservation.
And
that proves he's still lying. He's still lying.
Give me a second here. What's this on the reservation? What are you talking about?
He talks about that when he escaped, that he went to the reservation. He didn't. He went to Denver, Colorado, sir. He was working in a meat processing plant. That's where they arrested him. He wasn't on the reservation. And even if he was on the reservation for part of the time, then why would we allow him to go back under his son's tribal name when they already kept him safe from extradition once? Either way you bounce it, it's not true. He's still lying to you today. That doesn't mean that he's being accountable. And like I said, even at the last hearing just 30 days ago, him and his wife were sitting there denying and slandering me in the hearing, calling me a liar still, when he's been convicted not once, but twice. And it was turned over on a technicality. There's a reason he got 107 years. This was not just a rape. It was repeated. It was torturous. And I'm not his only victim. Kim Peckin, at age 7, was his victim when he was 17.
All right, I think we understand where you're coming from, and maybe it would make you feel better, though, that he has admitted to what we call the instant offense. He has admitted that.
I agree, sir. I agree that it would give me at least an understanding that maybe he's redeemable, but he's not. He outright lied to you today, and he hasn't been married to that woman for 28 years. He was married to someone else when he convicted of my rape. He has only been married to this woman for 6 or 7 years. So he just keeps lying.
You were done, right? I'll
take the reins now.
What?
I'll take the reins now.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to say before we go into board discussion?
The only thing I could say for myself is that, you know, I've done everything I can do in here. I've done all our classes. I mean, the pro board asked me to take a polygraph about the case. I did for some. I wrote it all out and I passed. You know, I mean, I was honest. I don't know where things got messed up that night between us or what happened, why I got accused of rape or whatever, but I did admit that, okay, maybe I said something that intimidated her, coerced her, or whatever, you know, but as far as a medical examiner, there wasn't a mark on her, there wasn't a scratch on her, there wasn't a bruise. She didn't even pass the rape test. Dr. Burns, it's in court records. He testified twice, but I'm just saying that I've been here all these years. If I was guilty, I would have jumped on that 10 to 15-year plea bargain just like that. I would have been gone 20 years ago.
Well, we will deliberate and we will let you know what we decided within the next 10 days.
Okay,
Okay, you're dismissed.
all right. Oh, this morning, my day started out, I was locked in a van for about 20 minutes with it running, heater, radio on, and guards couldn't get in and I couldn't get up. That's why we were late.
We waited for you.
I just want to say goodbye, Ken. Bye, Ken. It was nice seeing you.
No touching.
All right, it's good to see you.
You're a little kid, no. I got hair up here.
Okay, any more discussion? Before we,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lieberman,
I have some real questions in my mind here. We basically have a situation where 24 of our fellow citizens over the course of 2 trials found that this was a brutal rape, and then Judge Keene gave him a sentence of 107 years, and we just heard him 3 minutes ago say that there was some kind of misunderstanding that night. A brutal rape is not a misunderstanding. His position is that the woman was mentally ill, and that's why she brought the charge. Now he's referring to it as a misunderstanding. I have to agree with the victim who testified a few minutes ago that he has not in any way accepted responsibility for the situation. And again, I would just repeat that he had 2 different trials here, and 24 jurors were convinced that this was a brutal rape, as was Judge Keene in giving over a 100-year sentence. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, just, I have, and I mean, he's a level R person. He's a level R person, so I kind of reiterate what Mr. Lieberman is saying. There were a number of reasons why he was labeled or diagnosed as level R or scored as a level R. It wasn't just because he's boastful. So just in keeping with his ability to take accountability and be rehabilitated, I would like more information on that that L24 that he got with the K2. He is essentially saying that it was someone else's, it wasn't his, it was low level. I'm concerned that he is still abusing drugs and has a drug problem. And if that's the case, I mean, that's very concerning for someone that whose initial problems were impulsivity and an inability to control himself. So I would like more information on this major that he got just in November. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was just a couple months ago. Do we have any more information?
Well, the write-up in the.
Hey, Mr. Albers.
The write-ups in. I have it in front of me, but.
I know what's in the ISR. I'm asking for more staff input. He's basically denying that it was his. I want to know if they have more indication that it was his, or any indication that he may have in the past been abusing illegal drugs while incarcerated in the last couple months.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Albers.
And can I ask you if you know, was he found guilty?
He said that he pled guilty and that it wasn't his.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not the first time I've heard this sort of thing.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah, so I'm just.
How about, we ready for action?
I'm not.
You're not. Okay.
One more thing.
Mr. Chairman.
May I please say one more thing?
Mr. Chairman, this is Nicole Meyer. I'm the case manager on this. And it says that he actually pled not guilty and was found guilty.
Good. Okay, thank you, Mr.
You're
Albers.
welcome.
I'll try to be brief. The guy's been in the penitentiary for 32 years. He's had a few write-ups in 32 years. I've seen any number of people go out of here with stuff that scared me a lot worse than he does. And that's all. That's it. I mean, come on. We got this. Remember the guy that, you know, he picked up a woman in Sioux Falls, took her out and raped her and brought her back. So he got convicted and we put him out on parole. And he picked up a woman in Sioux Falls and brought her. You know, this guy, and whether you like it or not, he passed his history polygraph.
Mr. Beck.
I just think he hasn't admitted to the crime, so I can't see how we can say he's rehabilitated. But if you're ready for a motion.
But he did admit to it. He passed the polygraph admitting to the instrument offense.
He just told us he admits it was a misunderstanding.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to deny
For the whole system, so it'd be 8 months max.
and move him out 8 months.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a denial motion by Mr. Beck, seconded by Mr. Lieberman. Any other discussion before we vote? Seeing none?
I would like to, can I say something, please, before we move on?
No, the hearing is closed to the floor. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say nay, please call the roll.
Board Member Albers,
No.
Board Member Beck,
Aye.
Board Member Brown,
No.
Board Member Hall,
Aye.
Board Member Lieberman,
Aye.
Board Member Myers.
Aye.
Board Member Steele.
Aye.
Sorry. Vice Chair Austin,
Aye.
Chair Rao,
Aye. Vote of 7-2, that passes. Okay. We have kind of taken the liberty to schedule a dinner tonight. Ms. Steele and I have. So everybody's interested. You want to do 5:30? 5:30 at the
Steak shop.
the dive.
I need that, yeah.
The dive.
The dive?
Yeah, recommended by my daughter. I looked at their menu and it's all bar food and whatever, but she said it's the dive for it, so we gotta go find out. And it's just a little ways from Bill 26 if you drive down that strip, you know, there's kind of a strip there that faces to the west. And then Bill 26 is to the south, but it's right in that building.
Are we, are you dismissed? So should I shut Teams down
Yes,
while you
we are. Sure.
Okay.
Put the address in.
Thank you,
Okay.
Stacy.
Yeah,
Thanks, Stacy.
I think you're gonna like it. She in fact, she said they serve, but she doesn't make turkey. They serve a turkey.